Heartland fans are not ready for what happens in Season 19, Episode 3. This episode takes one quiet moment and turns it into a storm of emotion. It does not rely on big action or loud drama. Instead, it breaks your heart in a simple, honest way that feels real. If you think the Fleming Bartlett family has already faced their hardest days, Episode 3 will prove you wrong. Episode 3 begins with a heavy feeling hanging over Heartland. Even though the day looks calm on the outside, the sun rises over the ranch like it always does, but something feels off. Amy is in the barn early, brushing a horse that refuses to trust anyone. The horse has been rescued from a rough past and reacts with fear to every touch. Amy understands that fear better than anyone. She talks to the horse in a soft voice, but her face shows a quiet sadness. She is not only trying to heal the horse, she is also trying to heal herself. Ever since the emotional weight of the last episode, Amy has been pretending to be fine. She keeps working, keeps smiling for Lindy, but inside, she feels alone. She still carries the pressure of doing everything right, of being strong for her family. But at this moment in the barn, we see a rare glimpse of her breaking. When the horse flinches from her hand, she stops and closes her eyes, fighting back tears. The calm before the storm begins here, in silence. Meanwhile, Lou is already in business mode at the kitchen table, surrounded by papers. She's juggling far too much her duties as mayor, her responsibilities at Maggie's, and her role as a mother and sister. Peter calls, trying to speak to her about a problem involving Katie, but Lou brushes him off. She insists she can handle everything, even though she clearly cannot. Her voice is tight. She does not want to hear criticism, especially from Peter. They may no longer be together, but the emotional tension between them is still there. At the same time, Jack is out by the fences, repairing a broken section. But it is obvious that he is not thinking about the fence at all. His movements are slow. His mind is somewhere else. He pauses to look toward the horizon, lost in thought. For a man like Jack, silence means more than words. Something is weighing heavily on him, something he has not shared with anyone. Even the way he checks his phone suggests he is expecting a call he does not really want to answer. That small detail tells us something bigger is coming. Inside the house, Lisa tries to lighten the mood by surprising Jack with coffee and a smile. But even she can feel the unease in the air. She watches Jack make up an excuse about being tired. She knows he is not telling her everything, but she also knows he will not open up until he is ready. That unspoken distance between them makes the moment feel even heavier. This first act of the episode does not rely on loud drama. Instead, it builds emotional tension with quiet moments. Every character is carrying something they have not said out loud. Everyone is hiding their true feelings. Heartland has always been about family, healing, and hope, but Episode 3 reminds us that even strong families can struggle in silence before something breaks. The day moves forward on the ranch, but the silence between the characters is growing louder. Heartland is built on love and loyalty, but in Episode 3, it becomes clear that even love has limits when people refuse to share their pain. Amy tries to distract herself by focusing on work. She takes the rescued horse into the round pen and begins a trust session. At first, it seems like she is making progress. The horse watches her closely, ears forward, steps slow but curious. Then, suddenly, it panics. It bolts to the side and slams into the fence, terrified. Amy freezes. She's not just reacting to the horse. She's reacting to her own fear, a fear she refuses to face. When Caleb arrives to check in, Amy forces a smile and pretends everything is fine. Caleb sees right through her, but she walks away before he can ask anything. Her silence is a wall. Later, Caleb talks to Tim in the arena. He tries to bring up Amy, but Tim is distracted. He is worried about the rodeo school and the new sponsor deal. He brushes off Caleb's concern, saying Amy is strong and will handle whatever she is dealing with. But we know Tim. When he avoids a topic, it means he is afraid to dig too deep. He cares about his family more than he shows, but he is terrified of emotional mess. So he hides behind work, the same way Amy does. It runs in the family. Back at the house, Lou receives an email that shakes her. There is a rumor spreading online about her leadership as mayor. Someone is accusing her of misusing town funds. It is not true, but it spreads fast. The pressure crashes over Lou like a wave. She knows this could damage her career. Instead of asking Jack or Lisa for advice, she shuts her laptop and quietly panics. When Peter calls again to discuss Katie, Lou snaps at him, her voice trembling. She is angry, but under that anger is fear. Meanwhile, something unusual happens. Jack leaves the ranch in the middle of the day without a word. Lisa notices the truck is gone and immediately feels uneasy. Jack never leaves without saying where he is going. She calls him, but he ignores the call. He parks by an old dirt road near the edge of Hudson and sits alone, staring at a broken-down cabin. His face softens with grief. Whatever he came here for, it is personal. It is tied to a part of his past he rarely talks about. He opens the glove box of his truck and takes out a small, worn envelope. Inside is an old photograph, someone we have not seen yet. Someone important, back at Heartland. Tension finally breaks in a small argument. Lindy sees Amy crying again and asks her what is wrong. Amy forces a smile and tells her everything is okay. Lindy runs outside, upset, and Amy follows her. They argue not loudly, but emotionally. Amy realizes that by hiding her pain, she is passing it down to her daughter, the same way old pain has passed through their family for years. Amy hugs Lindy tight, but her eyes still show fear. She knows she cannot keep pretending. As the sun sets, all the characters are drifting apart emotionally. They are one family, but they feel more distant than ever. Something is coming. Something that will either bring them back together or tear them apart first. Night falls over Heartland, but peace does not come with it. The darkness outside seems to match the heaviness each character carries inside. Episode 3 moves into its most powerful act here, where hidden truths start to surface and emotions begin to break loose. Amy sits alone in the barn long after everyone else has gone inside. The rescued horse stands in the corner of the stall, quiet but alert. Amy knows she has been approaching this horse the wrong way. She has been treating it like a project instead of a living soul with fear and trauma. When she finally speaks, her voice is tired, honest, and fragile. She tells the horse what she has not told anyone. She is tired of pretending to be strong. She admits she still misses Ty every day, and some days the weight of that loss feels too heavy to carry. The horse steps closer, as if it understands. This quiet moment feels like a mirror. Amy is not just trying to heal a horse. She's trying to heal herself, piece by piece. At the house, Lou stands in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at her own reflection. She looks strong, but her hands are shaking. The rumor about her as mayor has spread all over town, and now she has received a message from the town council asking her to attend an emergency meeting. Her heart sinks. She knows what that means. They want answers, and they want someone to blame. Peter calls again, and this time Lou answers. But instead of talking about Katie like he wanted, Lou finally breaks down and tells him about the scandal. Peter listens quietly, then asks the question she fears most. Why didn't you tell anyone sooner? Lou hangs up instead of answering. She would rather carry the burden alone than admit she is scared. Meanwhile, Jack returns to the ranch late, trying to slip in unnoticed. But Lisa is waiting for him. She asks him gently where he went, and he finally tells her the truth. The cabin he visited earlier belonged to someone from his past, a man he once called a friend, a man he once trusted. That friend recently passed away, and Jack only learned about it now. He carries guilt because they had a falling out years ago and never made peace. Jack hates regret, but now he is forced to face it. Lisa takes his hand and reminds him that some goodbyes in life come too late, and that does not make him a bad person. Jack nods, but grief still clouds his eyes. This moment shows us something deeper. Even the strongest hearts can carry silent pain. Jack has always been the rock of the family, but even rocks crack over time. Then comes the moment that shifts the tone of the episode completely. Just before midnight, Amy receives a message that stops her in her tracks. It is short, but it carries emotional weight. Her eyes widen, and she takes a step back as if the floor moved beneath her. She reads it again, and this time her hands begin to shake. She grabs her coat and runs out of the barn. We do not see what the message says, but we know instantly that everything is about to change. The calm build-up is over. The storm has begun. Heartland has always been emotional, but this moment feels different. It feels like the start of something heavy, something that will echo through the rest of the season. Pain, regret, fear, and love are pulling the Fleming Bartlett family toward a moment none of them are ready for. Amy drives through the night with fear written across her face. The message she received was from a number she did not recognize, but the words were clear. Come to the old trail by the river. It's important. It's about Ty. For a moment she thought it had to be a mistake, or worse, a cruel prank. But something inside her told her to go. She follows that feeling now, through cold night air and memories she has tried so hard to control. When she arrives at the river, her headlights fall across a parked pickup truck. A tall figure stands near the water waiting. Amy steps out slowly, her heart racing. The man turns around, and we finally see his face. It is Clint Riley, the social worker who once helped troubled kids, the man who brought Ty to Heartland years ago. Amy has not seen him since Ty's memorial. Her eyes search his face for answers, but Clint looks nervous, older, worn down by life. Amy, he says softly, I'm sorry to bring this up now, but you deserve to know the truth. Amy phrases, the truth? About what? Her voice comes out small but sharp. If this is about Ty, just say it. Clint takes a long breath. Then he holds out a small, weathered notebook. Amy's heart stops when she sees Ty's handwriting on the cover. Her fingers shake as she takes it. It feels like holding a part of him she thought was lost forever. Clint explains that Ty gave him the journal years ago, back when Ty believed life was finally changing for him. He asked Clint to keep it safe just in case he never got the chance to give it to Amy himself. Amy opens the journal with trembling hands. The first page is a note written to her. She reads only the first line before she breaks down. If you're reading this, it means I didn't get to tell you enough times how much I love you. Her knees weaken. She sinks to the ground, clutching the notebook like it is the last piece of Ty's heart. Tears flood her eyes, and for a long moment she cannot speak. The silence around her fills with everything she has been holding inside: grief, love, pain, and the ache of missing someone who will never come home again. Clint kneels beside her. He tells her he almost didn't give it to her. He was afraid it would pull her backward when she had come so far in healing. But he also knew Ty would have wanted her to have it. Amy closes the notebook, presses it to her chest, and whispers through tears, Thank you. You did the right thing. But the heartbreak doesn't end there. Clint reveals one more truth: Ty had plans for the future he never had the chance to share. He wrote about his dreams in that journal. Things he wanted to do with Amy, the places he wanted to take Lindy, the life he hoped they would build together. And now those dreams live only in ink on old pages. Amy wipes her tears, but her voice is still broken as she says, Why now? Clint hesitates before answering, Because the past isn't done with us yet. Those words hang in the air like a warning. The emotional core of episode 3 lands here. This is not just about grief. It is about unfinished love. It is about the pain of things left unsaid. It is the moment Amy realizes she has been surviving, not living. And now she must choose. Keep running from her pain, or face it and start to heal for real. Amy drives back to Heartland with Ty's journal in her hands. She does not turn on the radio. She does not cry. She just drives through the darkness in silence, the way people do when they are trying to hold themselves together. The weight of what Clint told her sits heavy in her chest. Ty had plans for a future he never got to live. He wrote them down: dreams, promises, maybe even secrets. And now those pages are in her hands. When she returns to the ranch, the house is dark except for a single light in the kitchen. Jack is sitting at the table, unable to sleep. He sees Amy come in and stands up, worried. One look at her face, and he knows something is wrong. Amy sits across from him, but she doesn't speak. She isn't trying to avoid talking, she simply doesn't know how to begin. After a long silence, she places the journal on the table and slides it toward him. Jack reads Ty's name on the cover. His eyes soften, and for a moment he can't breathe. Jack has carried his own grief after losing Ty, but he rarely shows it. He has always tried to be strong for Amy, for Lindy, for the family. But seeing Ty's handwriting brings everything crashing back. He opens the first page, reads a few lines, then stops and shuts the book. His voice is rough when he says, He wrote this for you, Amy. You should be the first to read it. Amy nods, but she looks afraid. Not afraid of the pain, she has already lived with that. She's afraid of what the journal might change. Will it hurt more to read Ty's words? Or will it heal something inside her that she thought was lost forever? Meanwhile, Lou wakes up to find Amy sitting outside on the porch swing, staring at the sky. Lou joins her without speaking. For a moment they just sit together in silence. Then Amy finally tells Lou what happened. She tells her about Clint, the journal, and the message that led her to the river. Lou listens quietly, and when Amy is finished, she takes her hand and holds it. "You don't have to be strong all the time," Lou says gently. "Not with me." Amy breaks, and not into dramatic tears, but into quiet, honest pain. She admits that she still talks to Ty when she is alone. She admits that she still dreams he might walk through the door. And she confesses something she has never said out loud. She is afraid to move forward, because moving forward feels like leaving him behind. Lou doesn't try to force comfort. She doesn't say, "He would want you to be happy." She doesn't give a speech. She simply says, "You're not leaving him behind. You're just learning how to carry him differently." Inside the house, Jack is sitting alone, staring at the journal again. He thinks about how Ty changed all of their lives. He remembers the day Ty first arrived at Heartland as a lost kid. He remembers how hard Ty worked to become a better man, how he fell in love with Amy, how he became a father. And Jack realizes something: Ty's story isn't over. Not yet. The episode shows us how grief doesn't disappear. It changes shape. It waits in quiet corners of life, in memories, in old photographs, in letters, sometimes in journals that show up years later. But it also shows us something else: grief doesn't exist without love. And love, no matter what, survives. Ty may be gone, but his voice is back now. And what he wrote in that journal will change everything. Morning comes to Heartland, but it feels different. It feels heavier. The sky is gray, and the air carries a strange stillness, like the world is waiting for something to happen. Amy hasn't slept. She has spent the night outside, holding Ty's journal but unable to open it again. She runs her hand across the worn cover the same way she used to hold Ty's hand, gently, with love and fear at the same time. She knows once she opens those pages, something inside her will change forever. Jack comes outside and sets 2 mugs of coffee on the porch table without a word. He looks at her and says quietly, "You don't have to read it alone." Amy nods. Her heart is pounding. She takes a deep breath and finally opens to the first full entry. Ty wrote about their little family, about her, about Lindy. His words are simple but full of emotion. He wrote, "No matter what happens, don't close your heart. There will come a day when life asks you to choose hope again. Promise me you won't turn away from it." Amy stops reading. She looks out across the land. The world feels different now. Ty's voice isn't gone. It survived in these pages, and it reaches her like a hand through time. She closes the journal and wipes a tear, not out of weakness but out of strength. She isn't falling apart anymore. She's beginning to face what she has been running from. Healing doesn't start with forgetting. It starts with acceptance. Inside the house, Lou is on her laptop preparing for the town council meeting that could decide her future as mayor. She is scared but focused. She won't let anyone take away what she has worked for, not without a fight. Meanwhile, Jack walks out to the barn to check on the horses, and Lisa watches him go with worry in her eyes. She knows he is hiding something deeper than grief. His silence tells her that his past isn't done with him either. And then, just when things seem like they are slowly settling, Heartland delivers its final emotional blow. Caleb rushes onto the ranch, calling for Amy. His face is pale and serious. Everyone rushes outside, fear instantly in their eyes. Caleb hands Amy a folded piece of paper. "This was left at the rodeo grounds," he says. Amy opens the note, and her hands begin to shake again. Her eyes widen. She doesn't speak. Lou steps closer and reads the message over her shoulder. "You don't know the full story about Ty. If you want answers, meet me, alone. No name, no number, just a location and a time." The camera stays on Amy's face. Confusion, fear, hope. She holds the note like she is afraid it will disappear. The rest of the family waits for her to say something, but she can't speak. Not yet. Because in that moment, every belief she has held since losing Ty begins to crack. What if there are things she never knew? What if someone has been hiding something from her? What if Ty left behind more than a journal? The episode ends before we get any answers, leaving viewers stunned and desperate to know what comes next.